Presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden has finally spoken out about the sexual assault allegations from his former Senate aide, and he did so on MSNBC's Morning Joe. Let's take a look.
Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you sexually assault Tara Reade?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
All right, so that's fairly clear. This is the first time that he had to openly address these allegations, and of course, he's going to deny them because everyone knew that was going to happen. He was going to deny it. His campaign had denied it for quite some time. So now, the only reason that he's speaking out is because now you have MSNBC's Chris Hayes that had talked about this. You had CNN that's been talking about this, and it comes after more corroborating evidence has come forward. So you have a total of about 4 people who recall Reade telling them about not only uncomfortable touching, but also the sexual assault, alleged sexual assault. You got her brother, mother, neighbor, and a friend back in the 90s. In fact, that newest corroborating evidence came from that former neighbor who went on the record with Business Insider openly earlier this week. This is a woman who, again, has revealed herself. Linda Lacoste, right, is a neighbor, former neighbor, as I said. And she says, look, I plan to vote for Biden. Yeah, of course. But she still told me about this. And, I believe her because I'm also a sexual assault victim. So I've been through this before. And so I can tell. I know what it's like. And so, yes, I believe her. And that is really important. That is a character witness. That is corroborating evidence right there. So now that's really important. Big piece of evidence. Now, Mika Brzezinski, who's doing this interview, she actually did a pretty decent job. She leaves out a couple of things, but that's a fairly small criticism there. But she actually talks about the comparison between the Kavanaugh hearings and Biden's own quotes on whether or not we should believe women. Here's that segment.
You said that women should be believed. You said this. For a woman to come forward in the glaring lights of focus nationally, you've got to start off with the presumption that at least the essence of what she is talking about is real. Whether or not she forgets the facts, whether or not it's been made worse or better over time. She's going to be going on national television on Sunday. Tara Reade is coming forward in the glaring lights. To use your words, should we not start off with the presumption that the essence of what she's talking about is real? She says you sexually assaulted her.
Look, from the very beginning, I've said believing women means taking the woman's claims seriously. When she steps forward and then vet it, look into it. That's true in this case as well. Women have a right to be heard, and the press should rigorously investigate claims they make. I'll always uphold that principle. But in the end, in every case, the truth is what matters. And in this case, the truth is the claims are false.
Okay, so look, he says the truth is truth matters, right? Okay, well, in order to get to the truth, I propose an investigation. You investigate the claims. He says he doesn't do it. He didn't do it, of course. But where is the investigation? Now, if you're pointing at the New York Times, speaking to a few Biden staffers, 3 staffers, well, then that's not really an investigation. According to BuzzFeed, who received a list of talking points from the Biden campaign, which went to 2 Democratic operatives that said Biden believes all women have a right to be heard and have their claims thoroughly reviewed, right? Basically what Biden had said there. In this case, a thorough review by the New York Times had led to the truth. The incident did not happen. Now, the New York Times says, actually, we didn't say that. What we did not do an investigation. It was not a thorough investigation. We asked some staffers of his in the Senate, and they said they don't recall. In fact, Biden's talking points, according to BuzzFeed, say the Times story served as proof that Reade's allegation did not happen, but the story did not conclude this, nor did it conclude that an assault definitively did happen. The Times reported that 3 former Senate aides, all of whom Reade said she complained to at the time, either did not remember the incident or said it did not happen. So most of what you hear is, I don't recall. I don't recall. So we've heard that before. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm not saying that it did happen. I don't really recall. I don't remember. So that's important. That's important context when you look at the statements from those former Senate aides, many of whom might owe their careers to Joe Biden or the Democratic Party, who was firmly behind Joe Biden. So I wouldn't really think that that's the strongest case. Now, the Time also spoke to former interns who said they remember Reade suddenly ceasing to oversee them, meaning that she had, if she had really, complained to people that were higher up, that she suffered a career setback because of that. Actual punishment, being removed from those positions. And so that is good corroborating evidence that helps her case. The New York Times, however, says, oh, look, man, there's just not enough evidence either way. I mean, so look, I don't think I don't believe Biden's denial. I think that we need to find the facts. That's what we need to do. Now, here's the other thing. The other reason that I don't believe Joe Biden, and it's not because, and I know this will inevitably come up. Oh, you just want Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, you wanted to be replaced at the convention. That's not going to happen. Okay, that's not going to happen. I know that's not going to happen. Would it be great? Sure. But this is about, it's about truth. It's about holding to our principles. And our principles are, we believe when women make accusations, that they deserve to have those accusations, investigated. And people, that do that stuff in office, that do sexual harassment and assault, have to get, have to be held accountable. And that's what that is. We're trying to hold people accountable and get to the truth of the matter. If Biden actually didn't do this, well, then we deserve to know through an investigation. And if Biden did do this, then he must be held accountable. It's the same standard that we tried to apply to Brett Kavanaugh. Now, unfortunately, you had conservatives that played from the same playbook. Deny, and then question the victim. In this case, there's actually more corroborating evidence for Tara Reade than there was for Christine Blasey Ford, who I believe because she gave an incredible testimony. Nonetheless, it's that same playbook, and I am afraid that we're going to see the same outcome, that people in power will plug their ears, they will ignore this, and she will not get any sort of justice. So now, the other thing is, the other reason that I don't believe Joe Biden is that Joe Biden has a history of lying about things. I mean, there's a lot of examples of him lying about stuff. I'll get to those, right? But also, I mean, he also has a history of uncomfortably touching people and getting really, really close. Now, I'm not equating that to sexual assault by any means, right? But he seems rather at ease with violating the personal space of women. And that's not a good thing. That is something that has been dogging him for many, many years. That is something that people have pointed out, like, hey, he's a little creepy. Like, what's going on here? Stop being too close to, getting too close to women, smelling their hair. And there are 8 different allegations of him just doing that kind of creepy stuff where women felt very uncomfortable. And so there's a history of that. But when you combine it with the lying, the situation gets worse. In fact, in 1988, Biden dropped his candidacy over accusations that he had plagiarized material and exaggerated his academic record, or basically, lied. He lied. He lied about putting immigrants in cages. Now, he said the Obama administration never put immigrants in cages. That's not true. This was fact checked by PolitiFact. Now, the difference is they never did family separations. Donald Trump did family separations, and that's arguably worse. But you can't say that the Obama administration did not put immigrants in fences or cages, right? Biden also lied about being against the Iraq War. From the moment that it launched, he said he was against it. That's not true. PolitiFact also rated that false. He lied about teaching at Penn. In fact, during a town hall earlier this year, he told people, quote, "When I left the United States Senate, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. And the University of Delaware has the Biden School as well. So I spent a lot of time on campus with college students." In reality, here's what he really did for Penn. The Philadelphia Inquirer reported that Biden was paid $371,159 in 2017, plus $540,484 in 2018 and early 2019 for what it called a vaguely defined role that involved no regular classes and around a dozen public appearances on campus, mostly in big ticketed events. So these are kind of like the speeches for Hillary Clinton with the banks in 2016. So he says he's a professor, he has no classes, and gets paid tons and tons of money. Biden also has claimed several times that he was arrested back in the 1970s trying to see Nelson Mandela in prison. That is also demonstrably not true. He also said he co-sponsored the Endangered Species Act. He did not, and there's a lot more. Point is, even if it's small lies and some big ones, some whoppers, he has a history of not being honest and telling people that he had taken positions and done things that when you investigate it, you find out he didn't actually do, or he had taken a completely different position on. He's a pathological liar. Now, in case you're saying, but what about Trump? Trump's a pathological liar too. We know that. I don't believe anything either of them say. Yes, Donald Trump also has a lot of sexual assault and rape allegations against him, far more than Joe Biden does. He's also lied way more than Joe Biden. I get that. But are we at the point where that's a defense? Hey man, look, our guy has lied plenty of times and did sexual assault and alleged rape. But, I mean, Trump did more. What are you going to do? Maybe we shouldn't have picked the person who is weakest against Donald Trump in these areas. Because you can't attack Donald Trump on that stuff when you have the same problems, when you have the same issues. And even worse, you can't attack Donald Trump on his weaknesses when you have those very same weaknesses. And so that's the problem here. Okay, this is an issue. And I would rather we have picked someone else, just about anybody else, to go up against Donald Trump. And right now, I mean, are we stuck in this situation? I mean, that's really up to that's up to the Biden campaign, really. And look, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that we need to know the truth, right? If Biden is innocent, then we've got to see the facts. We do. There needs to be an actual, impartial, real investigation, not a sham investigation like Kavanaugh's. Okay? We need to see documentation. We need to see if Reade actually filed that complaint or not back in the 1990s. And that's going to go a long way to proving her case or disproving her case and proving Biden to have been to be innocent. A real investigation to find out the truth. That's exactly what we need. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc. We're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.